Over 100 trains, hundreds of thousands of tons of freight daily. This is the Southern Transcon, a rail line that stretches over 2,000 miles from the ports of LA and Long Beach to the various distribution yards in Chicago. It is a massive economic powerhouse for American trade, as well as a valuable asset for its owner BNSF Railway. Today, we're going to look at its history, traffic, route, as well as some quirks and choke points. History: how the corridor was born and how it evolved. The Southern Transcon started off in the 19th century due to the push for transcontinental railroads and increasing levels of trade. Various companies, including the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, built many disjointed segments of railroad that eventually connected to other segments to form a larger line. Later, ATSF bought out many of the remaining rail segments to unify the line. By the 1880s, construction work for the initial line was finished, forming the whole transcontinental line which linked the west and east along with many industrial, agricultural, and urban centers along the routes. Fast forward to the 20th century, the ATSF started investing large amounts of money to modernize and expand the route in capacity and speed. This included new and improved signaling, larger and more streamlined yards, as well as heavy double tracking, sidings, and better higher speed enabled geometry. The modern Southern Transcon took shape in the late 1900s with the adoption of mass containerized intermodal freight. These container trains are highly versatile and quick for transportation of finished and packed goods from one region to another, such as Asia to America. The Southern Transcon's importance largely stems from the cities it links. On the west side, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach form the biggest port complex in the US, and they handle a huge sum of American shipments. Meanwhile, on the east side, Chicago is America's biggest rail hub, hosting all Class 1 railroads and being arguably the most important interchange for freight goods moving towards the East US. To address this demand, ATSF and later its merged successor BNSF poured large funds to double or even triple track much of the entire line to avoid congestion of goods and ensure transportation speed. These large projects resulted in the extreme scale and capacity of the modern Southern Transcon we know and love. Subdivisions, following the route from Los Angeles to Chicago. There are 11 subdivisions on the Southern Transcon. They start with the urban line in San Bernardino and then move through the San Gabriel Mountains on the Cajon subdivision, a massive 3-track mainline where heavy trains battle impressively steep mountain grades. It is perhaps the most famous location on the whole Southern Transcon, offering 3% grades, beautiful scenery, and high traffic. This section is so steep and intense that it occasionally uses additional helper locomotives to successfully push trains up the steep incline. The combination of steep grades, exceptionally high traffic, and stunning mountain scenery has led to the Cajon Pass being one of the most famous North American railfan destinations. From there, the Transcon crosses long stretches of the stunning Mojave Desert on the Needle subdivision, with long, straight segments and open, flat terrain enabling high, consistent speeds. From Arizona, the line crosses the red rock-studded Colorado Plateau along the Seligman and Gallup subdivisions. After Belen, New Mexico, the line shifts towards flatter plains along the Clovis subdivision. From Clovis, the line transitions into the Great Plains on the Hereford subdivision and races across them on the Panhandle and Emporia subdivisions, reaching Kansas City. Finally, the line runs from Kansas City to Chicago along the Marceline and Chillicothe subdivisions. Traffic types: the freight that powers the corridor. While the route itself is impressive, the true scale of the Southern Transcon becomes apparent when looking at the traffic it handles each day. With well over 100 trains a day, there are many different types of trains and freight using the Southern Transcon. Perhaps the most common type of freight is the intermodal and piggyback train. Intermodals are extremely famous on the line and are a key driver for fast shipping from ports to population centers, hence why there are so many on the Southern Transcon. Another extremely common type of freight train are manifest trains. Manifests carry a wide variety of goods from city to city, and the large population centers drive significant bulk demand of various goods transported by manifests. Similarly, bulk commodity trains are a regular sight on the Southern Transcon. These trains move large quantities of a single commodity such as grain, coal, petroleum products, aggregates, or industrial materials. While the route is best known for its intermodal traffic, bulk trains still play an important role in supplying industries, power plants, refineries, and agricultural markets along and beyond the corridor. Beyond regular goods, automotive traffic is another significant source of business. Autorack trains transport finished vehicles from assembly plants to distribution centers across the country. The Southern Transcon's high speeds and direct routing make it an attractive corridor for moving automobiles efficiently between major manufacturing regions and consumer markets. Combined, these diverse traffic types create a nearly continuous flow of trains across the line. From double-stack containers racing between ports and inland hubs, to manifests carrying thousands of different products, and unit trains hauling massive quantities of raw materials, the Southern Transcon serves as one of the most varied and busiest freight corridors in North America. Logistical infrastructure, the systems behind the railroad. With the impressive amount and variety of trains, management and scheduling become extremely important on the line. Luckily, there are plenty of methods implemented on the Southern Transcon to run trains in high amounts while maintaining smooth and efficient operation. One of the most important tools is the extensive use of multiple train tracks. Almost the entire route is double-tracked, with some especially busy sections, such as the Cajon Pass, featuring 3 or more tracks. These additional tracks allow faster trains to overtake slower ones to prevent slowdowns and help reduce delays caused by the entry of sidings to give right-of-way to opposing traffic. Advanced signaling systems also play a critical role. Centralized traffic control allows dispatchers to monitor train movements across vast distances and remotely align switches and signals on a computerized system. This enables trains to operate safely at closer intervals while maximizing the capacity of the railroad to its full potential. Train priority is another major factor in keeping freight moving efficiently. Premium intermodal trains carrying time-sensitive cargo are often given preference over slower freight services like bulk and manifest. By carefully balancing train priorities and right-of-way, dispatchers can maintain the fast transit times that have made the Southern Transcon one of North America's premier freight corridors. Supporting these operations are numerous yards, sidings, fueling facilities, and crew change points located throughout the routes. These facilities allow trains to be inspected, serviced, and reorganized while minimizing disruptions to traffic along the main line. Capacity choke points, where capacity meets its limits. Even though the line is engineered to be a flawless, priority-oriented corridor, it is not perfect. There are still multiple capacity choke points along various segments. One of the most notable is Chicago, where trains deal with a vast array of rail yards and navigate along a web of disjointed railway companies' lines. There is so much traffic that heavy congestion on one line can sometimes create delays that ripple throughout the entire web of lines, including the Transcon. Another major challenge is the Cajon Pass. Although the addition of a third track significantly increased capacity, the combination of steep grades, heavy train volumes, and occasional helper operations can still create bottlenecks during peak traffic periods due to slow speed and weight delays. Maintenance work and adverse weather, or a combination of both, can further reduce available capacity through the pass. Various junctions and terminals along the route can also become temporary choke points. Large yards such as Barstow must process arriving and departing trains efficiently, and any disruption can affect the schedule of trains waiting to enter or leave the facility. To combat these issues, BNSF continues to invest in infrastructure improvements, including additional track, updated signaling systems, expanded terminals, and modernized yards. These projects help ensure that the Southern Transcon remains capable of handling growing freight volumes while maintaining the fast transit times that customers expect. Engineering hurdles: the challenges of crossing a continent. On top of operational capacity bottlenecks, there are also engineering challenges and the environmental factors that the Transcon has to contend with. Spanning more than 2,000 miles across mountains, deserts, plains, and urban areas, the route is exposed to a wide variety of natural conditions that can affect the railroad operations and engineering. One of the most significant challenges is the intense heat of the Mojave Desert and the American Southwest. Summer temperatures can regularly exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit, causing rails to expand and thus increasing the risk of rough rails and even derailments if infrastructure is not properly maintained. To combat these conditions, BNSF conducts frequent inspections and carefully monitors track conditions throughout the hottest months of the year. Weather can also create problems in the form of flash flooding. Despite the arid climate of Arizona and New Mexico, powerful thunderstorms that occasionally form can produce sudden floods capable of damaging track infrastructure, washing up ballast, and disrupting service. As a result, drainage systems, bridges, and culverts are critical components of the route's design in these areas. The line must also overcome the steep grades of the Cajon Pass. Heavy freight trains often require additional locomotive power to climb the mountain in the form of helper locomotives, increasing fuel consumption and placing greater demands on equipment. These grades remain one of the most physically challenging portions of the entire corridor. Strong winds and dust storms present another obstacle, particularly in desert regions. Reduced visibility can affect operations, while blowing sand and debris can increase wear on infrastructure and equipment. Maintaining reliable operations under these conditions requires constant monitoring and maintenance. The sheer length of the route creates additional challenges. Trains may travel hundreds of miles between major terminals and service facilities, requiring careful planning of schedules and stops for crew changes, fueling, inspections, and maintenance. Meanwhile, thousands of miles of track, signals, bridges, and other infrastructure must be continuously inspected and repaired to keep the corridor operating safely and efficiently, requiring heavy and expensive maintenance. Despite these challenges, decades of investment and engineering improvements have allowed the Southern Transcon to remain one of the most reliable and capable freight corridors in North America. Famous locations. Landmarks of the Southern Transcon. In addition to its importance as a freight corridor, the Southern Transcon is home to several famous locations that have become well known among railroad employees and rail fans alike. Perhaps the most iconic of these is the aforementioned Cajon Pass in Southern California. With steep grades, multiple train tracks, heavy train volumes, and dramatic mountain scenery, it is widely regarded as one of the premier rail fanning locations in North America. The combination of challenging terrain and constant traffic creates an endless stream of railroad activity and excellent views. Further north and east lies Barstow, California, home to one of BNSF's largest classification yards. Here, freight cars are sorted and assembled into new trains destined for locations across the western United States. The yard serves as a critical hub for traffic moving across the Southern Transcon toward and away from California and remains one of the railroad's most important facilities. Another notable location is Needles, California, situated along the Colorado River near the Arizona border. The surrounding desert landscape and long, fast stretches of track make it a popular spot for observing high-priority intermodal trains racing across the southwest expanse. In New Mexico, the city of Belen hosts another one of BNSF's major classification yards. Thousands of freight cars pass through this important distribution area each day, making it a vital operational center for the railroad. The combination of heavy traffic and extensive yard operations has also made Belen a favorite destination for rail enthusiasts. Near Kansas City, Argentine Yard serves as another key terminal along the route. As one of BNSF's largest yards and being positioned in a key location, it plays a major role in organizing freight moving between the western and eastern portions of the network. Its strategic location near one of the nation's most important freight gateways makes it a cornerstone of Transcon operations. Finally, the Chicago region contains numerous busy junctions, terminals, and interchange points where many railroads from North America connect. While often associated with congestion and operational complexity, these locations are also fascinating to observe due to the incredible variety of trains and railroads that pass through them each day. Together, these locations showcase the diversity of the Southern Transcon, from mountain passes and desert mainlines to massive classification yards and complex urban rail hubs. Significance to everyone. How one railroad impacts millions. Beyond its impressive infrastructure and train volumes, the Southern Transcon plays a critical role in the American economy. The route serves as one of the primary links between the massive Pacific ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach and the population centers, industries, and distribution networks of the Midwest and Eastern United States. Every day, thousands of containers carrying consumer goods, electronics, clothing, automotive parts, industrial equipment, and countless other products move along the corridor. A significant portion of the items found in stores, warehouses, and homes across the entire country spend at least part of their journey on the Southern Transcon. This makes the line a vital component of modern supply chains and freight transportation networks in the U.S. Delays caused by severe weather, infrastructure failures, labor disputes, or congestion at major ports can quickly ripple through supply chains across the country. Because such a large volume of freight usually is routed to this route, even minor disruptions in throughput can affect businesses, retailers, and consumers hundreds or even thousands of miles away. The continued growth of international trade and e-commerce has only increased demand for efficient freight transportation such as the railroad. As more goods move between Asia and North America, the Southern Transcon remains one of the fastest and most efficient methods of transporting cargo inland from the West Coast. Projects such as additional tracks, upgraded signaling systems, expanded terminals, and modernized yards help increase capacity, improve reliability, and prepare the route for future growth. These investments ensure that the Southern Transcon can continue serving as one of the most important freight arteries in North America. For most people, the Southern Transcon may simply appear as an insignificant pair of tracks scaling across the western United States. In reality, it is a critical piece of infrastructure that helps keep stores stocked, factories supplied, and goods moving throughout the American economy. Conclusion: the Southern Transcon is far more than just another railroad stretching across the American Southwest. It is a vital transportation corridor that connects major ports, cities, industries, and consumers across thousands of miles all over the vast American interior and coast. Every day, hundreds of trains move along the route carrying everything from consumer goods to automobiles to agricultural products and industrial materials, helping power the American economy. From the steep grades of the Cajon Pass to the busy rail hubs of Belen, Kansas City, and Chicago, the line demonstrates both the scale and complexity of modern freight railroading. Decades of investment in track, signaling, yards, and other infrastructure have transformed it into one of the highest capacity freight corridors in the world. Yet, despite its impressive engineering, the railroad must still overcome congestion, harsh weather, difficult terrain, and the constant challenge of maintaining thousands of miles of infrastructure to high running standards. As global trade continues to grow and supply chains become increasingly interconnected and fast-tracked, the importance of the Southern Transcon will likely continue to rise. Whether viewed as an economic lifeline, an engineering achievement, or a railfan destination, the route remains one of the most important pieces of transportation infrastructure in North America and a testament to the enduring importance of railroads in the modern world.